What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Matt Get the Hands, back to you with another video. Alright, so this right here is my boy's waves in 5 weeks in of brushing. Now, the reason why I show this is because right now his waves aren't, I feel like that was his prime. He's been waving for a very long time now, I believe 13 weeks of wolfing. He recently had a baby, had a lot on his plate, so I can understand. I mean, Yo Fonz had a baby recently and he fell off on the brushing scene. Not to throw him under the bus, but you know how much work it is to brush your hair, stay on top of your waves, your wave pattern, make sure you're, putting in all that work to make sure your waves are on point. But right now, this haircut tutorial is going to be a taper fade with waves on top. And right now, as you can tell, his waves, they're there, but I feel like they were better at 5 weeks in. But this is still going to be a great educational video. Right now I'm doing a 3.5 with the grain because my client's hair is a little thin, so we want to make sure that the 3.5 will be able to lay down the hairs because he does have a pretty curly texture as well. So if we're not laying it down, if he's not wearing a do-rag, it's gonna curl up. So right here I'm starting off the taper in the back of the neckline. And I'm using the custom-made Slimline Pro LIs. And now I'm gonna start with the lever all the way open to create my next guideline. Going up about ½ of an inch. You see where that first wave starts? We're going as high as that point with the highest guard. And then what I do after I have the lever open, I put it in the middle and then close it to remove that line. And there's some barbers out there, man, I'm not gonna say any names, but he was putting out there on Instagram, why do barbers start their guidelines with a trimmer? I feel like I can get a cleaner line, more pronounced line, first guideline to start my blend, and I can still take it out with the clipper. I'm not creating myself an extra step. That's just a system that works for me, and I've been using it, and it works. Why fix it if it ain't broken? My clippers, my seniors, they're pretty close. I wouldn't consider them zero gap because they're not as close, but I have my trimmers and clippers set to where they blend into one another, if that makes any sense. So the next guideline after the lever open was the 1 guard, and now this is the number 2 guard because I've said it in my video before. I feel like once I jump to the 2 guard from the 1 guard, it stays a little darker. It keeps the blend a little lower. That way I can come back and follow up with the 1.5 guard and just lighten up that area. Versus going from 1 to 1.5, there's no contrast. I want some gradiency in my blend. So the highest guard I will be using right here is the number 3, and I'm just kind of like scooping out towards me. I want to try to blend in that wave. Guys, don't feel like you have to blend that wave out. It's not a line, it's a wave, right? You can go with the grain to kind of lighten it up a little bit. I just know that with the 3 open, it'll blend right into whatever is tapering right underneath it. So right here I went back to my 1.5 guard lever open. As you can tell, I'm working just the left side because I don't want to get in the way of the camera. And as you can tell, that 1.5 blended right into that 2, right underneath that 2. It's like stacking your guards like you're doing a fading down technique. You want everything on top of each other. That allows you not to create another line, a light spot. You don't get lost in your blend. Just stay right underneath where you left off from the previous guard. But the reason why I did not do that video 5 weeks in is because I wanted to be a longer wolf. So did my client. But again, like I said, he had a son, man. Blessings to you, man. I've been rocking with this dude ever since I probably moved here out to Tampa. And he's had a mohawk. He's been on my YouTube channel before. I know y'all have seen him. If you've been rocking with my channel for a while. But he started, doing waves not too long ago, and his progress is crazy. How fast the waves, started popping, and It's crazy. Just what brushing can do, a do-rag, a little bit of maintenance on your hair. It's crazy what your hair can do. But like I said, he had a son. Congrats, man. And he had to move his family down from North Carolina. And it was just a lot going on. So we're not going to blame him. We're not making any excuses either. But I'm just saying, 5 weeks in, I felt like that was his prime. But the reason why I'm saying all this is because I know YouTube has no filter. And it is difficult to cut hair like this, not just waves, but this type of hair texture. Because any little cut that you make, you got to make sure it counts. Because if you put a certain guard, like right here, this is my one guard, right? Right here around the ear, it tends to grow towards the ear, backwards, right? So I have to cut against the grain with the left side of the blade, cutting towards the client's forehead, if that makes any sense. You'll see. But just certain areas, man, just like Yo Fonz's hair, his hair is so difficult to cut. Any little cut that you make, you're gonna see it. Like, you can't go back. So right here, I took the 4-guard. One of the barbers is asking me, what do I do around this area? And I took a 4-guard because it's a 3.5 on top. I'm sure the 4-guard will knock it down and lay it down, and it'll make it look like it belongs to the taper on the sides and back, right? You don't want it to just be taper, dark taper. So if you knock that down a little bit, depending on what's on the sides, depending on what guard you use, you can lay that down. Say it's a number 2 all the way around with a taper, right? You go with a 1.5 against the grain around that ear area, maybe even a 1, and you taper that area down, it'll look that much better. So the same steps that I did on the back of the neck is what I did on this side. Sorry, I went on a rant, I went off track, but as you can tell, the blend is coming together. Now I'm on my half guard, and again, guys, the same steps. I always start with the lever open, put it in the middle, and then close it. And you're gonna see right here that line is bothering me, and I just go and use shear over comb. And I've learned this technique from S-Craft Blends. If you're not following him, you need to. S-Craft Blends on Instagram. Dude's a monster. And as you can tell right there, look, it just took it out. I could not get that little piece of hair with the guard, and I didn't want to do no guard and then create myself a line or a bald spot. So, oh man, this technique right here is very effective. And my client does like a mid to high taper. We balled it out. I did use a shaver on the sides, guys. I did not show that, but I used the Babyliss FX shaver. I think it's the metal one. Alright, since I did explain the steps on the other side, right here I'm starting with the lever open after I had already put my guideline in with the trimmer. And now I'm jumping to the 1-guard lever open. And as you can tell, now his hair, even though he brushes downwards in like towards his eyebrow, his hair is growing the other way. As you look, I'm combing it the way it's laying down. It's growing towards his ear. So you're gonna have to cut in different directions. That way you can blend the hair in. And I'm always like, with this type of haircut, I'm gonna use a comb. I'm not gonna use a brush because I don't think the bristles will grab the hair unless it's a hard brush. But I didn't have one at the time, so I'm using a fine-tooth comb, and I'm making sure I'm combing the hair down as I cut to remove any debris, any excess hair, and also make sure I lay the hair down and I can see exactly what I'm cutting. So now I jump to the half guard, and the same thing right around that ear area, man. Like, it seems to be darker. So you have to just lever play with your guards. And if you start with a higher guard and it's not cutting, you can work your way down. If you start with a lower guard and you cut and it creates a bald spot, a light spot, you can't go back. So trial and error. If it's not cutting, work your way down. But once we put the lineup on this haircut, oh man, it takes it to a whole nother level. Which brings me to my next topic. Whenever I do the lineup in front, guys, I am using a trimmer that cannot be on camera, that cannot be shown right now. So just to let you know, I did not show the lineup in the front, but just know the trimmers that I use, oh my gosh, fire. I think they're the best, I know they're the best trimmer I have ever cut with in a whole 6 years of cutting hair. The best trimmer I have got my hands on, hands down. Hands down, the best trimmer I have got my hands on. These right here are fire, but golly, the ones I use on the lineup, see, I had already did the lineup at this point. I'm doing the mustache. But man, I'm so excited for this barber industry. It's always growing, it's always excelling. They're always innovating, you know, different companies. So, did not show the front lineup. I'm sorry, guys, but I had to use the new trimmers on my boy. Alright, so I am dry shaving, and as you can tell, we used to bring his beard line to the darker area right underneath this. But I wanted to try something different, and I kind of just told my client, man, your beard line starts right here. It's up to you if you want to keep it this high. Some clients don't. You know, he may come in next time and say, hey man, I'd rather it just go to where it's dark at. But for the sake of the video, to keep it pretty natural and add the color enhancement, we decided to go a little higher. But right here I'm using the Get Beam Official Tune 45 cordless air compressor with the gun, and I am using the no drip. I had already cleaned my client's hairline at this point with some alcohol. I had already sprayed some alcohol to clean the area, that way the color can stick. But y'all, this is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed this haircut tutorial. Make sure you subscribe, share, and comment. Team Gifted, stay gifted.
Trip too hard, don't stand too close, you gon' run and drown. Off this way, doing all these shows. I've been on the road, I don't care where I go, long as I get paid.